but you don't even have the sense to even look in our face. But you rather just steal our money and do what you want to do.
Let's start with the basics. Tiffany Henyard was elected mayor of Dolton, a small town just outside Chicago, in 2021. Initially, she seemed like a fresh face, poised to bring new energy to local politics. But fast forward to today, and her administration is under intense scrutiny. We're talking accusations of financial mismanagement, allegations of corruption, and a federal investigation shaking the very foundation of this small town. Oh, and did we mention the FBI is involved? Yeah, it's that serious.
Community that in order to get a business license or a liquor license, you need an...
The unfolding controversy surrounding Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard traces its roots to mounting concerns from residents and trustees over her questionable spending habits. Reports allege that Henyard has treated taxpayer funds like a personal piggy bank, funding lavish trips, luxury purchases, and extravagant events featuring R&B stars such as Kiki Wyatt and Jay Holiday. One particularly shocking revelation is that she reportedly spent over $43,000 on Amazon in a single day. But the controversy extends beyond financial misconduct. Henyard has also been accused of abusing her power, allegedly using the local police force as her personal security detail, intimidating her critics, and even involving officers in town events as backup dancers. The situation escalated when frustrated Dolton trustees decided to investigate the town's finances. Their findings were alarming. A general fund that boasted over $5 million just 2 years ago had plummeted to a deficit of more than $3 million. This financial collapse caught the attention of federal authorities, prompting the FBI to step in and issue subpoenas to uncover the truth. Trustee Brittany Norwood, one of Henyard's most outspoken critics, has been raising red flags about Dolton's finances for months. When news of the FBI investigation broke, Norwood expressed relief, stating, "We've been questioning the finances because that's been a big concern of mine as a board member." Residents and officials have been left stunned by revelations of Henyard's questionable charges on village credit cards, including the staggering Amazon expenditure. Additional purchases from retailers like Wayfair and Walgreens were made without receipts, further raising suspicions about the lack of oversight. Instead of addressing these concerns openly, Henyard reportedly took extreme measures to shield herself. She brought criminal defense lawyers to board meetings and repeatedly changed the locks at Village Hall, allegedly to block trustees from accessing critical records. These obstructionist tactics have intensified the standoff between Henyard and the village board, leaving many in Dolton demanding accountability and transparency. Critics such as Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle have accused Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard of financial mismanagement, a lack of transparency, and undermining democratic processes. Trustees locked out of key government spaces struggled to fulfill their duties, plunging the village's governance into disarray. While Henyard claimed these disputes were politically motivated attacks on her administration, residents saw a leader more intent on consolidating power than addressing pressing community issues like deteriorating infrastructure, underfunded schools, and unpaid vendors. The situation reached a breaking point when a report, including findings by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, revealed Dolton's general fund had nosedived from a $5 million surplus to a $7 million deficit under Henyard's leadership. Taxpayer money was allegedly used for luxury vacations and personal shopping sprees, prompting widespread outrage. Meanwhile, the FBI's growing investigation into Dolton's finances has cast a shadow over Henyard's administration, raising questions about how much longer she can maintain control amidst mounting legal challenges and public dissatisfaction. The controversies also touched the local police department, with reports highlighting shocking discrepancies in overtime pay. For instance, one officer earning $87,000 received over $148,000 in overtime, while another earning $33,515 was paid an additional $127,000. These glaring irregularities raised concerns about oversight and accountability within the village. Despite the growing scrutiny, Henyard has vehemently defended her actions. During a public meeting, she accused her critics of attacking her because she is a Black woman in power, saying, "You all should be ashamed of yourselves because you're Black, and you're sitting up here beating and attacking a Black woman in power." The remarks, intended to deflect criticism, sparked further debate, but failed to win her new supporters. As Dalton grapples with its financial crisis, legal battles, and governance turmoil, Henyard's tenure as mayor has been anything but stable. The once prosperous village is now mired in deficits, unanswered questions, and a growing sense of unease among its residents. Dalton is reeling under mounting debt, unpaid vendors, and furious residents as Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration faces escalating scandals. For many, the financial mismanagement is personal. Resident Andrea, voiced her dismay, stating, "I am devastated that this woman came into our town and spent all of our tax money. We have senior citizens that can't even afford basic necessities." Her words reflect the growing frustration of Dalton locals grappling with crumbling services and fiscal chaos. Adding to the turmoil, Henyard is reportedly embroiled in an eviction lawsuit. Her landlord, Janetta Hull, claims Henyard and her partner, Kamal Woods, haven't paid rent since August, despite their combined income exceeding $300,000 annually. Henyard, who earns about $300,000 as both Dalton's mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, and Woods allegedly changed the locks on their rental property, preventing Hull from accessing it. When Hull confronted Woods about overdue rent, including a $200 increase to cover unpaid dues, Woods reportedly claimed he couldn't afford it, a statement that has left many baffled given their substantial earnings. Hull has since initiated eviction proceedings, though serving Henyard with papers has proven challenging. In response to growing criticism, Henyard has denied any financial wrongdoing, both in her public role and personal life. However, her attempts to deflect blame have only fueled skepticism. During a dramatic 90-minute Facebook Live session, Henyard accused political opponents of conspiring against her and threatened to have her critics arrested, though she provided no evidence to support these claims. Her broadcast, filled with vague promises and fiery accusations, showcased her defiance but failed to address the core issues plaguing Dalton critics, argue that these tactics are a calculated effort to distract from her failures. Meanwhile, Dalton's financial crisis deepens, with the village facing millions of dollars in debt, unpaid vendors, and unmet community needs. Residents, increasingly fed up with Henyard's leadership, are regularly attending board meetings to demand answers and accountability. As controversies pile up, Henyard's administration faces mounting legal challenges, public outrage, and a community on the brink of collapse. Residents of Dalton are demanding answers as the town's financial condition continues to deteriorate under Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership. Once a thriving municipality, Dalton's general fund has plunged into a deficit, with allegations that taxpayer money has been diverted to fund Henyard's personal luxuries instead of essential public services. The impact on the community is stark. Crumbling infrastructure, unpaid vendors, and reduced municipal services have left many questioning the priorities of the current administration. Despite these mounting issues, Henyard has announced her intention to seek re-election in 2025, a move that has sparked outrage among residents. During a recent board meeting, one frustrated resident asked directly, "Why won't you step down?" A question that echoes the growing sentiment across the town. Yet, Henyard remains resolute, framing herself as a victim of political sabotage rather than a leader embroiled in controversy. Her unwavering confidence, even as Dalton's financial outlook worsens and her personal legal troubles escalate, has drawn criticism from many who argue that her focus appears to be on retaining power rather than addressing the town's urgent needs, critics suggest. Henyard's insistence on staying in office may be driven by a desire to shield herself from potential legal consequences. Her administration is already under scrutiny from state agencies, watchdog groups, and the FBI, which is investigating financial discrepancies in the village's accounts. Meanwhile, Henyard's contentious relationship with the village board has only deepened the crisis. Trustees such as Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle have accused her of bypassing board approvals, operating with a lack of transparency, and showing little regard for accountability. Board meetings have devolved into chaotic sessions, frequently marred by heated exchanges and procedural disruptions. Both Henyard and the trustees accuse each other of undermining the democratic process, creating an atmosphere of dysfunction and distrust. While the board attempts to hold Henyard accountable, she often dismisses their actions as politically motivated attacks rather than legitimate efforts to restore governance. As tensions escalate and Dalton's financial and political stability hangs in the balance, residents are left questioning how much longer their town can endure under Henyard's leadership. Her decision to seek re-election has only deepened divisions.
The home that she leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now...
Why wouldn't Tiffany Henyard exude confidence? This is a woman who has built her political career on bold moves and even bolder rhetoric. One of her latest maneuvers involves a controversial salary plan. If someone else wins the next election, the mayor's salary will be slashed by nearly 90%. However, if Henyard is re-elected, her salary remains intact. Critics see this as a calculated power play designed to deter challengers, a move that may seem desperate but could work in her favor. Meanwhile, Dalton's problems continue to mount. The town is grappling with a worsening water crisis characterized by frequent water main breaks. Henyard has blamed these issues on budget cuts, though many residents argue that mismanagement under her administration is the root cause. Frustration is also growing over the lack of police presence in neighborhoods, an issue that residents say jeopardizes their safety. Trustee Brittany Norwood has been vocal about the disparity, pointing out that while Henyard has surrounded herself with a large security detail, the rest of the community is left to fend for itself. This allocation of resources has drawn sharp criticism, with many questioning why taxpayer money is being prioritized for the mayor's protection rather than the public's well-being. As Dalton's challenges multiplied, financial instability, infrastructure failures, and public safety concerns, Henyard's political strategies and leadership choices remain a source of fierce debate. Her bold tactics may have kept her in power so far, but whether they will help her navigate the town's deepening crises is a question that looms large over her administration. Trustee Brittany Norwood has summed up the frustrations of many Dalton residents regarding Mayor Tiffany Henyard's use of village resources for personal protection. In order for us to feel protected, Norwood said, "We're saying you're assigning all of them to be with you when they should be out here protecting the residents." This sentiment resonates across the community, where safety concerns are growing due to a lack of visible police presence in neighborhoods. Tensions are not only high among residents but also within the village's leadership. A recent township board meeting was canceled due to a lack of quorum after trustees voiced concerns about their safety, a sign of the increasingly hostile atmosphere surrounding Dalton's governance. Some of Henyard's colleagues on the board have had enough, with several taking legal action against her. Allegations include forging checks and withholding financial records, further fueling the fire of controversy. Among Henyard's critics is Trustee Jason House, who has announced his candidacy to challenge her in the next election. House is part of a group of trustees who have formed a slate called the Clean House Team, vowing to unseat Henyard and restore order to Dalton. Their mission reflects the growing dissatisfaction with Henyard's leadership and their determination to rebuild trust in local government. Despite the mounting opposition, Henyard is not backing down. She has made it clear she's in this for the long haul, framing her continued tenure as a fight against political sabotage. Her defiance and willingness to dig in have only heightened the stakes, leaving Dalton braced for what promises to be a contentious and pivotal election. Mayor Tiffany Henyard has drawn a bold comparison between herself and former President Donald Trump, claiming she'll win re-election in a landslide much like he did. It's a striking declaration that underscores how Henyard views herself as a political outsider battling against the establishment. Whether this self-portrayal holds any merit is up for debate, but one thing is undeniable. Her tenure has been far from ordinary. As she put it herself, no one, and I repeat, no one, can run circles around me when it comes to public service. As Dalton faces mounting challenges, the question of what comes next for the town looms large. The financial situation remains dire, with the general fund deeply in the red, unpaid vendors, and growing infrastructure failures. Meanwhile, Henyard's landlord is still waiting for overdue rent, and the people of Dalton are still waiting for answers. The stakes couldn't be higher. The FBI's investigation into Dalton's finances continues to focus on serious allegations, including financial mismanagement and potential misuse of taxpayer funds. At the same time, Henyard's re-election campaign is gaining steam, setting the stage for what promises to be a contentious political showdown. Ever Henyard's bold rhetoric and combative tactics will secure her another term, or if the mounting legal and political challenges will bring her time as Dalton's super mayor to an end remains to be seen. For now, the town is left grappling with uncertainty, waiting to see if accountability and stability can finally take root. Rumors surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration have intensified, with allegations of misconduct, fraudulent contracts, and the misuse of taxpayer funds. Sources suggest that some of Dalton's resources were funneled into projects that personally benefited Henyard or were awarded to her associates, bypassing the proper approval processes. These reports have fueled suspicions that the town's finances are being used to serve her own interests rather than the community's needs. Perhaps even more alarming are the bribery and blackmail claims emerging from residents. Several have come forward, alleging they were approached by individuals connected to Henyard's office, offering favors in exchange for leniency on matters like permits or property assessments. Others report facing intimidation tactics aimed at silencing critics of Henyard or her administration, further deepening the concerns about the erosion of democratic principles in Dalton. One of the most disturbing aspects of the situation involves Henyard's alleged exploitation of the local police force. There have been multiple reports of law enforcement officers being used to harass political opponents. After hearing Cade Beller, who once supported Henyard's campaign, has publicly stated that former Dalton Police Chief Robert Collins was involved in using the department to intimidate critics. This abuse of power, if proven, could have serious legal and ethical ramifications for Henyard and the local government. As these allegations continue to surface, Dalton's residents are left wondering how much longer this pattern of corruption and mismanagement can continue without significant consequences. The ongoing FBI investigation is closely scrutinizing these claims, and the pressure on Henyard's administration is mounting. With mounting legal challenges and a growing backlash from both the public and the political establishment, the future of Henyard's leadership remains. Former Dalton Police Chief Robert Collins has admitted that Mayor Tiffany Henyard asked him to target political opponents for harassment, shedding light on the extent of the alleged abuse of power. One such instance involved trustee Cade Beller, who claims that while she was out of town, she received multiple parking tickets which she alleges were ordered by Henyard as a form of manipulation. This incident is just one of many examples that point to a larger pattern of retaliation against those who challenge her authority. Collins, who was fired by Henyard, is now suing the village for wrongful termination, and his testimony could play a critical role in the ongoing FBI investigation. Henyard's influence, however, hasn't been limited to the police force. She has also been accused of turning Dalton into her personal kingdom. Billboards and banners featuring her face have appeared all over town, leading some residents to draw comparisons to authoritarian regimes. One resident even likened her to Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, saying, "Isn't that what they're doing out there with President Nicolás Maduro? Like his face is everywhere, like he's the dictator." Consolidation of power has led to growing frustration, not only among residents, but also among the town's trustees. In recent months, they have fought back in court to limit Henyard's authority. A judge recently ruled that Dalton Town meetings could be moved to the Park District for safety reasons and to ensure the meetings are not solely under Henyard's control. These developments reflect the increasing tensions between Henyard's administration and the village's elected officials, who are desperate to rein in her influence and restore order to Dalton's government. With the FBI investigation deepening and Henyard's control over the town being challenged on multiple fronts, it remains to be seen whether she will be able to maintain her grip on power or if the growing backlash will ultimately bring her leadership to an end. The ongoing legal battles for Mayor Tiffany Henyard continue to pile up. With a new twist, she's now facing eviction from her home in Dalton. Yes, you read that correctly. The mayor is being evicted for failing to pay rent. Her landlord, Janetta Hull, claims that Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, have not paid rent since August and are now thousands of dollars behind. Hull has even accused Henyard of changing the locks and garage door codes to prevent her from accessing the property. Despite their combined income of over $300,000 a year, Henyard and Woods reportedly told Hull that they couldn't afford the $200 rent increase, which was implemented due to rising property taxes. This claim has left many residents scratching their heads, given the mayor's salary and her position as both Dalton's mayor and the supervisor of Thorin Township. In true Henyard fashion, she took to Facebook to address the eviction rumors, as well as the ongoing FBI investigation into her administration. In a nearly 90-minute live rant, Henyard defended herself, vowing to seek the arrest of her political opponents. She painted herself as the target of a political conspiracy, suggesting that those opposing her were trying to sabotage her leadership and undermine her efforts to serve the community. Henyard's combative and defiant public statements have done little to quell the growing discontent among Dalton residents and trustees. While the eviction and FBI investigation add new layers to her legal troubles, they also highlight the increasing tension between Henyard and the very community she is supposed to serve. As the pressure mounts, the question of whether Henyard can maintain her grip on power or if this is the beginning of the end for her controversial tenure remains unanswered. But instead of retreating, she is charging ahead, gearing up for re-election. In a recent Facebook post, Henyard announced her candidacy for a second term as mayor of Dalton, confidently stating, "Attention, attention, attention! I am running for re-election for mayor of Dalton." Despite the scandals and growing legal challenges, Henyard is confident that the people of Dalton will give her their overwhelming support and mandate. However, not everyone shares her confidence. Trustees have been vocal in their opposition, with many seeing her re-election bid as a further indication of her refusal to step down and acknowledge the many issues plaguing the town. The town's financial struggles, the ongoing FBI investigation, and widespread dissatisfaction with her leadership have created a deeply divided atmosphere, leaving Dalton residents and officials wondering if Henyard can really hold on to power in the face of such overwhelming opposition. Jason House, one of Mayor Tiffany Henyard's main opponents in the upcoming election, is running on a platform of transparency and accountability. He hasn't hesitated to criticize Henyard's leadership, stating, "The community does not want to continue under her leadership. I'm not shocked because I know her." Definitely not shocked. House's remarks reflect the growing frustration many feel about Henyard's administration. The reactions from Dalton residents are mixed, with some still holding out hope that Henyard can turn things around, while others are calling for her to step down immediately. At a recent town meeting, one resident didn't mince words, asking, "This is an embarrassment to Dalton. Why won't you step down?" Another resident echoed this sentiment, adding, "It's not our fault that Tiffany Henyard has become the most infamous mayor in America due to her inability to listen to reason. Concerns extend beyond just the local community." A fan commenting on a YouTube video covering the scandal asked, "Why hasn't the FBI stepped in yet? These poor residents need justice and protection." Another person added, "She should have stepped down a long time ago." As Henyard faces mounting legal challenges, public backlash, and a growing movement for her to resign, the situation in Dolton remains in turmoil. The upcoming election is expected to be a turning point, as residents and officials grapple with whether Henyard can maintain control or if a new direction is necessary for the town's future. The frustration surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership is palpable, and it's clear that many residents feel she has overstepped her bounds. This sentiment has only intensified as the FBI investigation into her administration continues to unfold. According to sources close to the investigation, the FBI is focusing on several critical areas, including how Henyard has been awarding contracts and whether these contracts were directed toward her close associates without proper procedure or oversight. Additionally, there are serious concerns about whether taxpayer money has been used for personal gain, with allegations that Henyard may have used funds for luxury trips and extravagant parties. The FBI is also looking into claims of bribery, with multiple residents alleging that they were offered favors in exchange for political support or leniency in local matters such as permits or property assessments. If these allegations are proven true, Henyard could face severe legal and political consequences. Despite these growing scandals and the intense scrutiny, Henyard seems unfazed. In fact, she's doubling down on her claims that she is being unfairly targeted. During her lengthy Facebook Live rant, she lashed out at the media, accusing them of spreading fake news and misinformation about her. "Why is it," she asked, "that everything I do is painted as wrong?" Henyard framed herself as a victim of a political smear campaign, portraying her opponents and the media as part of a larger effort to bring her down. Her defiant stance, however, only seems to further alienate those calling for transparency and accountability in Dolton. As the FBI investigation deepens and the allegations mount, the question remains, can Henyard weather the storm, or will the mounting pressure finally force her to step down from her controversial leadership? During her Facebook Live rant, Henyard passionately defended herself, saying, "Why don't y'all hear my side? You judge off the one side of the narrative that's out in the world, but never hear from me. I was always told, if you want the tea, get it from me." She argued that her critics are only telling one side of the story, and that if people wanted the full truth, they should listen to her directly. Tiffany Henyard also suggested that her opponents are using the allegations against her as a diversion from their own wrongdoings, although she has yet to provide any concrete evidence to back up this claim. So, what do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard truly the victim of a political smear campaign? Or is she really as corrupt as her critics suggest? And will the FBI's investigation finally bring justice to the people of Dolton? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.